Hey guys, Coasters Worldwide here, and today I'm going to be ranking the RMCs, like all 16 of them. Now, RMC, also known as Rocky Mountain Construction, are a relatively new company into the roller coaster manufacturing scene, but they've quickly built up a reputation for making some of the most crazy coasters on this planet. I and many others believe this company hasn't made a coaster which isn't fantastic, plus every coaster on this list looks to be in the top 100 coasters out there. Before we get into this, please note I haven't ridden any of these coasters, so I wouldn't say I have bias towards or against any of these. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into this list, approved by Rollercoaster. Okay, so number 16 is Wonder Woman Golden Lasso Coaster, coming to Six Flags Fiesta Texas in 2018. Now, just this morning actually, there was footage leaked, I guess, of this coaster, and it just looks a hole. So it might move up when it actually opens. I'm not sure. This is just going off the POV of it, released by the park. But this coaster hasn't opened yet. But from what I can see, it looks to be the weakest RMC coaster. However, as I said, there isn't a single bad RMC coaster. The park and RMC are advertising it to be the world's first single rail coaster, but there was single rail coaster before this. But this and another coaster coming next year. It looks to be easily the best. It's also said to be one of the smoothest coasters ever built, which sounds really good. About the coaster, it looks to have a great layout. The 90-degree drop looks incredible. All three inversions look great, especially the first one. And the transitions and pacing look good too. But like the coaster plays over water, so that just adds to the value of it. Number 15 is Railblazer, coming to California's Great America in 2018. Now, Railblazer is just a clone of Wonder Woman Golden Lasso Coaster, so everything that I said about that applies to this. But I believe this is going to be slightly better, as it's got added theming and rockwork around the coaster. But yeah, everything said about Wonder Woman applies to this coaster. Number 14 is the Joker, which opened at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom in 2016. To begin with, I don't think Boss was the best RMC, but it's nice to see what a GCI would look like as an RMC. I've also heard a few people absolutely rave about this coaster, but besides those hipsters, it's regarded as one of, if not the weakest RMC coasters. It's got quite substantial pacing issues, but despite having some of the best elements, it also doesn't look to have the same relentless feel that other RMC's coasters do. However, by no means it's a bad coaster, and certainly has some great elements like that zero-G stall and the first turnaround section. Number 13 is Twisted Cyclone, coming to Six Flags over Georgia in 2018. The main thing I love about this coaster has to be the colour scheme. It's absolutely beautiful. The blue and white look amazing. However, the main downside to this coaster is just how much wasted potential it is. Like, look at Wicked Cyclone. That came from a base kind of coaster, I guess you call it, similar to this. However, it's certainly much better. Even the park needed this was short, so they recently added an extra 300 foot to the layout. But what this coaster does in that time looks fantastic. Especially that first turnaround, like, it's pretty unique and has two inversions. And the wave turn next to the lift dome. But overall, it's just kind of like wasted potential. And they could have done so much more with the layout, but no, they didn't. Number 12 is Goliath, which opened at Six Flags Great America in 2015. Just like Twisted Cyclone, this coaster on the shorter side. However, Six Flags and RMC did a great job to fit this coaster in the space they did. This coaster is also our first ground up woody on this list, so I'll try to throw that out there. Anyway, this coaster has some of the best elements on a wooden coaster. The first one that comes to mind is the zero-G stall and the dive loop. Both look to supply out of this world hang time, especially that stall hung beneath the lift. In addition, this coaster has the stats back up the experience, as upon opening it was the tallest, fastest and steepest wooden roller coaster. But all in all, a great ride, slightly short and doesn't have the best name, but still an outstanding coaster nonetheless. Number 11 is the new Texas Giant, which opened at Six Flags over Texas in 2018. By nature, this is one of the weaker RMC coasters, as it was the first one ever built. Despite not having any inversions, as it was new, so obviously didn't really want to risk it, and they didn't know what they could do with the track and the supports and what they could do with the layout at the time. So despite not having inversions, it has relentless airtime, crazy bank turns, and the overall coaster is just huge in scale. It's tall and pretty fast and steep too. This coaster really did get people knowing about the company RMC and set the benchmark for future coasters, both by them and not by them. Number 10, Twisted Colossus, which opened at Six Flags Magic Mountain in 2015. I just remember seeing the animation for this coaster and thinking, wow. Just wow. However, I don't think it lived up to my insanely high expectations, but it wasn't a million miles away either. Despite it being super long, the second lift does look to kill the pacing, especially if it's in dueling, which I've heard it doesn't as much nowadays, which really is a shame. But this coaster is an icon and one of the first rides that come to mind when you hear the words Magic Mountain. Also, the colour scheme looks fantastic, and especially in the sweet California zone. Number 9, Outlaw Run, which opened at Silver Dollar City in 2013. This coaster is revolutionary. Never before had there been a good inversion on a wooden coaster. As Thunder Beast was terrible as me trying to sing. But yeah, the double barrel roll at the end of the ride looks sweet, whether you want to call the 150-degree stall element an inversion or not. But it's certainly a highlight of the ride. The terrain interaction on the coaster is super unique and looks fantastic. People will probably put this higher on the list, but it's on the shorter side, which I never seem to hear people complain about or even talk about. And personally, I couldn't bear to put anything above this lower. Number 8 is Medusa Steel Coaster, which opened at Six Flags Mexico in 2014. It's so unfortunate that this coaster has gotten worse over the years. When it first opened, it looked insane. It ran amazingly, perfect pace, and flew through the layout. If it still ran like that, it would easily be a top 5 RMC without a doubt. But I've heard from several people nowadays it runs really slowly. The pace is pretty terrible, which is such a shame. When it first opened, like every element, it was like bam, 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 relentless. It was like crazy. But now I've heard that it's kind of like more slow and more on the tame side, which is certainly a shame. But it's still an incredible coaster no matter how it runs. Number 7 is Storm Chaser, which opened at Kentucky Kingdom in 2016. This coaster basically did the opposite of what Medusa Steel Coaster did. Upon opening, it barely made it round, but now it's got better wheels on. This thing just hauls butt. I've got a friend who said they wish I had a quote-unquote normal drop, but the drop's one of the best parts of the ride in my opinion. Also, the meme names of the elements, Trick Track, Double Up and Court Roll Anybody, on top of the outstanding elements they actually are, just made that ride an extra bit more special. Also, the airtime hill looks out of this world crazy. You're absolutely flying out of your seat. This is certainly one of those RMC coasters that is on the top of my bucket list and something that I really want to experience in the future. Number 6 is Rattler, which opened at Six Flags Fiesta Texas in 2013. Despite this being one of the first RMC coasters, it still holds up to this day as being one of the best. It's one of the tallest and biggest in scale, therefore the drop looks incredible. The middle of the section of the ride looks a little bit underwhelming and somewhat kills the pacing, but it sets the coaster up for one of the single-handed best moments of airtime on any coaster, the dive off the quarry roll. Wow, this element just comes out of nowhere. You're just suddenly thrown off the side of this quarry. This coaster may only have one inversion, but it doesn't really need any more. Yeah, it would be better if it had 1 or 2 more, but it doesn't break the ride or anything. This coaster also looks great off-ride and fits in well with the rest of the park. Number 5, Wicked Cyclone, that opened at Six Flags New England in 2015. One word sums up this coaster, and that word is relentless. This coaster is just pure relentlessness. Is that a word? Anyway, that's what this coaster is. It's non-stop airtime. Riders are thrown out of their seats in every which way. This coaster blends small ejector airtime hills with inversions. The first inversion, the half stall, looks great, and the way this coaster weaves and winds in and out of itself is really just amazing, further amplifying the feeling of non-stop action relentlessness. Just an aggressive coaster in every way, shape and form. Number 4, Twisted Timbers, opening in 2018 at King's Dominion. This coaster is just too good to be true. How RMC, King's Dominion and Cedar Fair have taken a coaster with little to no potential and made it one of the best looking coasters in the world is truly inspirational. It reminds me of basically just a long storm chaser, with a relentless airtime and inversions. If there isn't any pacing issues with this ride, then wow, it's going to be truly exceptional. I think I still think Intimidator 305 will be the best coaster in the park, but this thing is sure to put up some strong competition. Number 3, Wildfire, which opened at Colmarden Zoo in 2016. There was a lot of controversy surrounding this ride when it first opened between the park and the area it was built in. The coaster was forced to close shortly upon opening in 2016 as the state rejected it or something. I don't know the details, you can probably tell. Anyway, nobody really knew whether this coaster would reopen or not, although to our delight it did reopen. Anyway, now I've rambled on, let's get into the actual coaster. Despite the minor pacing issues evident on this coaster, it's truly outstanding. The drop looks great, the 0 store looks like one of the best in my opinion, and this coaster just looks non-stop. Loads of airtime, rapid fire transitions and great terrain interaction. One of the best coasters on this planet, and to think. Number 2, Lightning Rod, which opened at Dollywood in 2016. This is another coaster with a lot of controversy surrounded it within its opening year. The opening was delayed, and throughout the 2016 season it suffered a lot of downtime. However, when you're actually on the ride, it's truly stunning. Yes, in 2017 the launch speed was reduced, causing a slower and less intense ride experience, but it's still really, really intense and powerful. Some people even call it too intense. Personally, I don't think too intense is a thing, but yeah, we can go with it. It's also got great terrain interaction and theme as per with coasters at Dollywood. Overall, the best RMC in operation, however not the best to ever be. Number 1 is of course the legendary Steel Vengeance coming to Cedar Point this year. This coaster probably has some of the highest and biggest hype of any coaster in recent history. This coaster breaks loads of records, not only for the coaster, but for the park too. The most notable of which is this coaster is going to have more airtime on it than any other coaster ever has. The first half of this coaster consists of large elements, still pretty forceful and got lots of airtime, but the second section is more comparable to that of Wicked Cyclone, where it weaves in and out of itself. This coaster also has 4 reversions and a drop of 200 foot at a vertical angle of descent. The main fear I guess for this coaster is that it's going to have pacing issues. Now even if it does, it's still going to be an exceptional roller coaster and maybe even the best of the world, but we'll have to see. Now I've worked really hard on this video with a 2,000 word 6-page script as well as the rankings, so I'll be greatly appreciated if you could tell me in the comments your list and like the video. Anyway, this video's gone long enough, I won't occupy you anymore. Bye guys. Now I've worked really hard.